as you guys all know, National Marriage Week just wrapped up. And so we really just kind of wanted to take this time to celebrate what you, the CMI family, were able to accomplish this year with National Marriage Week and how it was used in your communities. And we just want to learn from each other and experience where you found your greatest successes and failures and whatever that may be that we can learn from each other. And we're grateful for everything that you guys did. I mean, every date night, every simulcast event, the statewide marriage challenges. There were just so many things that you all did and so much creativity. So we want to hear all about it. We really do believe that the best ideas come from this collaboration and co-creation. And so today is going to look a little bit different than our normal training events. Instead of a presentation style event, today is going to be more of a family conversation. And so we're just excited to get to hear from all of you. But first, to get us started, I've asked Bill McKenna from the Maryland Marriage Initiative to open us in prayer. So Bill, whenever you are ready, sir.
Okay. I'm honored to be able to do this. Thank you, Stephanie. As I was preparing for my prayer this morning, you know how God talks to you every once in a while and says something to you. And I just happen to think we're in Texas, so to speak. And thinking about that Texas song, "The Eyes of Texas Are Upon You." And it made me think of a verse. There's a verse in Chronicles. I was looking up the Second Chronicles 9. The eyes of God are all over the world, looking for those that he can watch over and protect. And that's us. His eyes are watching over us daily as we journey through this marriage venture that we're on. So, Father, we lift up our eyes to you today. For we know that all our help comes from you. And all praise and thanksgiving goes to you, Father, Son, and Spirit. To whom all our blessings flow. In prayer and thanksgiving, we come to you, Father. You're the author of marriage. And we, in humility, we come to you and we ask you to continue to guide us, show us the way, and to give us the wisdom to understand what marriage is all about as we reach out to those who haven't heard the message or still don't understand what your marriage plan is. We thank you for your abundant love that has nourished us. And we pray for all the patience and perseverance to continue delivering your message of how to love others as you loved us, so that their marriages will bear fruit in building a strong marriage in their own homes, in their communities, and throughout this country, and wherever else you might lead us to go. May we be more like leaders like Joshua. You know, Joshua, God gave that command to Joshua as he gives it to us in what we're doing. He's saying, be bold, be courageous, be strong, because we have his assurance that as we battle Satan, we know Satan has all kinds of attacks, Father. He's out there day and night trying to do everything he can to destroy that which you created. But we have your promise, Father, that you will never leave us. You will never forsake us. Wherever you go, you will be there at our sides. And finally, Father, we will continue to press on to that goal that you have given to us. In your name and for your glory, Father. Amen.
All right. Thank you so much for praying, Bill. We really appreciate you. All right. So we're going to kick things off today. And the way this is going to look is I'm going to have you just raise your virtual hand if you have something that you would like to share. But we want to know, what did National Marriage Week look like in your communities this year? You know, did you focus more on events or social media engagement or prayer or partnerships or something else? Are there any testimonies that you'd like to share with us? So I just would like to open the floor, and if you'll raise your virtual hand, who would like to go first? All right, Bill, go ahead.
Since I'm seated next to you, at least on the screen I am. There's several things that we were. Well, I'm wearing this marriage shirt, of course, for marriage, that Amy and Wanda and them designed that we could wear in our community, whatever event. And we started handing them out this week to different events that we were at. We also had a chance to go before our county commissioners this past week, and they had signed a proclamation for our county that they would support and honor marriage. So that's one big thing we did in our community. The other thing, one of the churches who's working with us had a big date night last Saturday night, and over 250 people attended that date night. And that was pretty awesome as well. So those were some of the highlights of what went on this week. There were others, but I think those were three of the biggies. Unless you want to count having a great granddaughter born that week. But
No. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Bill. And I just want to let you guys know too that this is just a conversation. So if somebody if Bill talks about his t-shirts and you want to know more about that, feel free to ask questions and we'll just have a conversation. So who would like to share next?
Well, I'd like to ask a question, Bill. You said, I know you're in Maryland. If somebody wants to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
see Carl. No, 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 just so. Our website is mrec.org. And if you pull that up, there'll be information about our nonprofit as well as contact information as far our email and various telephone numbers. Now, my daughter, Amy Guilford, is actually the executive director, and she's full of information that she learned from her mother. No, one of the ways that's really helped us is CMI, to be honest and truthful. We have been so blessed in the couple of years that we've been part of that. So if you go to our website, you'll get a whole lot of information about us as well as contact information. And thank you for asking.
All right. Who would like to share next? Okay, someone's asking what is the website. Bill stated it's mrec.org. All right. Anybody else want to share today? If you can't find your virtual hand, you can raise your regular hand too.
I can't find the hand, but
Okay. John, go ahead.
one of the things I've learned is I need to start earlier. I need to start now for next year because I think a lot of things that we did just takes more time. And the contacts I made, we just had, of course, if you don't start before Christmas or really before Thanksgiving, it's a little too late. Or at least in my situation, it was because just to make contacts and go and meet with these people individually, things get rescheduled and canceled. And then we got back. I was out of the country for a month during December and part of January. And then we came back to an ice storm. Just all these things that I should have thought about. But I know now. And so, but we did get the state. We got a state senator to introduce a proclamation to the state house, and so we got the state legislature to declare that. Bill, we didn't get our local council or mayor's office to do that, but we felt good about getting the state to do it. And then we culminated our marriage week with the first meeting of Grace Marriage, and we had great attendance with that. Not quite 250 couples, Bill, that you all had, but or the church you talked about had, but we still had a really good attendance at that, and that will last all year. And so we feel like we've gotten some good traction there. We had I don't know how many people signed on to the webcast or the podcast, the virtual presentations that the Marriage Initiative had, but we certainly did advertise those. And so I don't know, Stephanie, if there's a way to could tell, how many from our area signed on to those or what. And again, I don't know how many of that would be because they heard it from us, but I don't think many other organizations or entities were advertising it like we were. So I think if they saw it, they could have found it, just incidentally. But I'd like to see how many from this area signed onto those webcasts from our for our region or our area?
I currently don't show what area people signed up for, but that's something we can take under advisement to see if we want to do that in the future.
Oh, I don't know. I just was interested. I don't know that it's
Yeah,
worth
sure.
the effort for for the organization to do that, but I would be interested to see how many took advantage of that. I'm hoping
Right.
several did. But I know personally several that did, but I don't know how many. And if they did, I don't know how many. You don't know if that was because they heard it from us, but there may have been other events or not events, but other outlets or other people who advertised it other than the Nashville area. But anyway, so so those are my two takeaways. We were great with what we got done. Start earlier next year.
Mhm. That's a good thing to share. Bill?
Yeah, I see Wanda's on now. And Wanda and her husband were at that marriage event I was talking about, the date night. Maybe she
Mm,
has something she could share about that.
no, it was great fun. The comedian was fantastic, and I think there was a lot of people that had shared good memories with good laughs, don't you think, Bill?
Yeah.
Wonder what did you all do at that date night? Was there a meal? Did you have
Yes, so there was a meal, there was a comedian, so that's pretty much what the church had done, was the meal and the comedian.
was there a charge for that?
Yes, sir. It was 45 or 90 per couple. And then they had like another tier if you wanted to have some kind of goodies or a special VIP kind of thing.
That's impressive that it was 45 or even maybe 90 per couple, and you had that many people show up. That's impressive.
And they also had like they had live music, so it's a good time.
I just saw in the chat someone's asking Wanda, who was the comedian that you all had?
Sean Reynolds.
Okay. Okay. That's great. I know also, Wanda, you all did something that I thought was really unique. You did the date night, the virtual date night for Wounded Warriors. Do you want to share about that?
Sure. So we were supposed to be in person, and then it was difficult to have some kitchens. They declined at the last minute, and so we pivoted, and then we just did it online. And there was a online chef. She was phenomenal, and that's what she does for business. So they partnered, and so Christopher and I kind of just filled in between steps of creating the pizza. So they actually made a pizza. There was kits that were mailed out to each couple, and I think there was like 11 couples.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share that happened in their communities?
I'll share.
Okay.
So I looked up when National Marriage Week started. It looks like it launched in 2010. And I wanted to know that because we've been around for 25 years. And so our organization actually started with a sweetheart ball, and it's grown every year. So the sweetheart ball is always around Valentine's Day or on Valentine's Day. And so we were able to obviously merge those two together the past several years. And the cool thing is we had our sweetheart ball on Valentine's Day night on the 35th floor of the Petroleum Club in downtown Oklahoma City. So the view of the city was magnificent. We have dinner, dancing, and a little bit of comedy combined with a truly wed game that all couples play. And then there's a winner at each table. And so there's only 4 couples at the table. So we built community in everything that we do. So that was sort of our way of building community. And we also have a silent auction. But what we did differently this year to highlight the National Marriage Week is our MC. He spoke on it twice when he was up at the stage, which he did a fantastic job. He did more than we thought he would do, which was great. Yeah. He really pushed the National Marriage Week with the QR code on the PowerPoint slide, and just really wanted to encourage the couples to check it out. So I hope that they did. I don't know, and we hope to hear from them to learn about that. So the Sweetheart Ball was wonderful. But we also daily, we had social media posts every day. We don't normally post every day, but because it was National Marriage Week, we did that. And then we were able to do a radio interview with Bot Radio, just really talking about marriage, but also plugging National Marriage Week at the end. And so hopefully that made a difference. But those are the 3 things that we did. And what we learned is we sat in for our outreach part-time employee who was supposed to have a booth, an eye-to-eye marriage booth at a event called Marriage Seminar. It was on Saturday, February 7th, which was the kickoff of National Marriage Week. We didn't mention it at all. They didn't know about it. We didn't mention it. Shame on us. Next time we will blast it like crazy. So that's definitely a lesson learned for us.
Cresha, I loved what you all did at your marriage event, your sweetheart ball, where you had the eye-to-eye time. Tell a little bit about that, because I thought that was really inspirational, how much it impacted the couples.
Yes, so that is what people mostly talk about. We have a part in the program where we carve out about 15 minutes. We heard it needs to be longer from the founders. They told us it needs to be longer. But this time it was only 15 minutes, and the MC instructs every couple after we've eaten. If you're at your table, get to your table. If you're not, find your partner, your spouse, and move your chairs to where you're knee to knee, face to face, eye to eye. And at that time, we have 2 questions on the screen. He reads them both, and he says, in this time frame, you want to make sure you talk about these 2 questions. If you have time for both, great, but make sure both of you answer both of them. And of course, I don't have it pulled up. I don't know how fast I can do that, but they're very deliberate, intentional, insightful, and they force the couple in a loving way to really speak to each other face to face versus this side by side thing that we always do. And so it's very intentional, and couples absolutely love it because we don't know the stories behind who walks in, what they're bringing with them, what troubles they just had. But that moment breaks down so many walls, and it draws them so close, and they absolutely love it.
I love that. I love that. And when we were talking about it the other day on the call, one of their team members was on, and she was just talking about how impactful it was for her and her husband and how much it meant to them. So I thought that was really great that they did that. All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to share or any questions so far? All right. Dave and Cheryl. You're the first one on my screen with the hand raised.
All right. Oh, let me lower my hand. So National Marriage Week has been gaining momentum, we think, in our community, just because this is the 3rd year that we've really promoted it. And we start with promoting a date night, and that was on Friday, February 13th. And it's a big church that we do it at. And this is the 3rd year that we've done it there, and we partner with them. And so we had Mark Conger, and then we had dessert beforehand. So it was $49 per couple. So we had a little smaller group this year. There was some conflicting things, other things going on. And so I think we had about 260 people. So like 130 couples. And so, but it was fun. And we had it in the chapel, which was a little smaller, but it made for more, closer, more personal. So that was fun. We did promote through, we have over 1,000 people, I think, on our email. And so we promoted the broadcasts, and we promoted the date night. And then we have a marriage conference coming up also in March. And so we had a pastor's breakfast in January. And so the pastors who came and the church leaders who came to that, then we gave them all, we played it up big. In fact, Dave got on the National Marriage Work website. He showed them what's on there, how that they can access all of the information. We gave them, information on the broadcast and on date night and on the marriage conference coming up. We promoted on social media, the broadcast, and we used, and then we had the date night. And then we also got the flyers from the National Marriage Work website. And so I know personally in our church, they put a flyer in our bulletin, which was pretty big, that came from the National Marriage Work website about the broadcasts, and then also about our date night. So, yeah.
Then we handed out kisses.
Oh, we handed out. Yeah, we had a table out in front. We handed out Hershey Kisses. We always have a big thing kisses for couples. We're like, come on over, get your kisses. And they, couples come on over, and then we give them any kind of resources that we have, all the ones we were talking about too, to just kind of promote that. And we also encourage the churches that came to our pastor's breakfast for them to do that also.
It's really helped the third year that people are starting to recognize, they know what it is now. Your guys' advertising is absolutely wonderful to pass on to them. But the start early thing, that was big for us that we learned in years past. And so pastors really need to know about it way ahead of time. And the fact that in this area they know about it, it's helping us. But certainly it's a process.
And they look forward to it now too. They're like, what are you doing this year? For Valentine's Day, around Valentine's Day. So last year we had it on Valentine's Day with Ted Lowe, but this year we had it on the Friday night. So they're looking forward to it though.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing. I see there is a question in the chat. Cresha, I know you don't have those questions pulled up, but we have had a couple people say that they would love to know what your questions are. So if you can get those to us, then we'll share those too.
Working on that now. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Jason, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so in Arkansas, this is the second year we've run what we're calling the Arkansas Marriage Challenge. And really that's kind of a public awareness campaign, if you will, just to put out, hey, the church cares about marriage. And so we have a site and we drive couples, through radio and different platforms to the site. And that, there's two sides of it for churches or for couples. The couples, they can go on and see the different offerings that are available through the churches that we've connected to who join the challenge. And so every year we have a small goal of 25 churches, and this year our large goal was 50. We found that a lot of churches that joined it last year were doing something different this year, which was a surprise. We were hoping that would be an instant 25, but that wasn't the case. So we ended up having 22 churches join the challenge, but they're from 9 different cities across the state, and several were churches that we had not previously connected with. And so what we ask is for each church to consider doing one of 3 things, or all 3 if they want, for the challenge, and that is to host a date night. That's the first one. Run some kind of marriage class or a one-off, or a marriage study or a one-off marriage class, or sign up to be a couple checkup church. And that's a church who just says, hey, right now all we can do is let everybody know if they want to get a couples checkup, they can contact us and we'll walk through that process with them. And so, yeah, we had 22 churches that signed up this year. And most of what we do, so we center the challenge around National Marriage Week. So we're specific to ask churches to do whatever their event or their thing is around that. But we also recognize, February is a whole month. And so if it doesn't work, that's fine, but do something in February. And we are seeing good success with that. We're also seeing that it allows opportunity for us to follow up with those churches to see how it went, what's going on. But then it becomes a really good connection piece for us to say, hey, let's have a larger conversation around your church and how you do things for marriage and relationship ministry.
Yeah, I know that one of the things that I like about the marriage challenge that some may not think about is that it really seems like it is a low lift. Like it doesn't seem like it's a difficult thing for you as a CMI to implement. So can you talk a little bit about that, Jason? Like what does it take to do the marriage challenge to facilitate it?
Sure. So, and it's extremely low lift. And all it is doing the due diligence of contacting, the churches for us, the ones that we have on our list that we regularly are in touch with, seeing if they're running something. If they already are, like that's easy all around because they just give us the info, we plug it to the site, and we're done. Check that box, it's done. If they are not sure if they're planning something, then it allows for the opportunity to have that conversation. And then if it's a church we haven't previously connected with, there's a little bit of extra work there, but it's really not hard because it's just making a phone call, sending an email. We have seen, and then beginning that conversation. And we also have seen cross collaboration between churches in this time where they go, hey, we both live in the same area. Let's not try to do this individually. Let's combine forces. And so we've seen 2 or 3 different times last year and this year where churches will start working together with that. And so it becomes even easier, for the churches to do that because it's not all on their own. So in terms of what we actually put forward, the effort, it's pretty small. Everybody can make some phone calls and send some emails and, maybe drive around and drop a flyer or two off for the ones that we are already connected with. And also if we can get into the door of churches that we have not, gotten to know yet, that's a pretty low key way to do it too.
And it seems like it's a good way to create new partnerships.
Yes. And so we have, like I said, we had several churches this year sign up that had not signed up previously. And so once their event, most of them didn't do something around National Marriage Week. We have found a lot of churches tell us they don't like doing anything that week specific because most of their couples like to kind of do their own thing. But so they offer something the week before or the weeks after. And yes, so the churches that we hadn't previously connected to or have very loose connection, it's a huge open door to say, tell us how it went. Let's grab lunch. I'd love to talk to you more about what you're doing and how we might be able to help you.
Yeah, and so for those of you who don't know, Arkansas started their marriage challenge last year, and they had such great success with it that they continued it this year. And from that, we've had now 3 other cities who have implemented it. So Maryland did the Maryland and Pennsylvania Marriage Challenge. Charlotte did the Charlotte Marriage Challenge. Virginia did the Virginia Marriage Challenge. So many have found great success with it. So I think, if there's anybody else on the call that was part of one of those statewide marriage challenges, if you'd like to share too, and I know there's a question in the chat, and so any of you who were part of one of the statewide marriage challenges can answer this. But what they're asking is, Jason, when did you launch a marriage challenge ahead of National Marriage Week? And I think you all do it year round. Am I wrong, or do you do it year round?
Right. Yep. We do it year round. And so last year I'd say we started a little bit late. But I mean, I would say personally, as long as September 1, you're launching into it, and getting the word out, you're probably going to be okay. If you wait too long, you start getting close, button up to holidays and all that kind of stuff, and calendars are already full in some ways. So start at the absolute latest September 1, but I would even start, honestly, I'd start, if you're thinking about doing it, send some communication out now. So it's real easy. Hey, we're thinking about doing this next year. We'd love for you to get it on your calendar. We're going to circle back in September and really launch into some strategic, ways to do that. But right now, get it on your calendar. And we have found that works.
Well, I know Charlotte, they also did it this year, and they said that they in the fall they do a state of marriage summit in their community, and so what they're going to do is really push the Charlotte Marriage Challenge at that summit so that everyone there gets on board with it, and they're going to really promote it there, so that they'll be promoting it in the fall as well. So I think you're right, early is best. Is there anyone else that would like to share something they did or have questions about the marriage challenge, or maybe you did a marriage challenge and you want to share about that? And if you can't find your virtual hand, you can go ahead and just jump in.
Hey,
Okay,
Steph.
Avon, yeah.
Yeah. What we did, we had a 3-day marriage conference, and we had some speakers that came in, and it was from Friday. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Um, and basically, we had a session on Friday. We had a session on Friday evening for all of the couples. We had a total of 45 couples and 12 singles. So we opened it up to singles and couples, married couples. Um, on Saturday, we did three sessions in the morning. One of those sessions was a breakout session, and then one of those sessions was a panel discussion. So that went pretty well. And then the couples were released for the rest of the day. They came back that evening for a semi-formal dinner. And during the dinner, we had live music, a saxophonist. We had a 360 booth. We had a selfie booth, and just lots of fun and laughter. And then on Sunday, we had the guest speakers speak on Sunday at our Sunday service. And then a part of the service, when the guest speakers had finished speaking, we did for everybody in the congregation that were married, we did a renewal vow, a vow renewal. And then at the end of the vow renewal, we had a couple that actually got married for the first time. So
Oh,
that's pretty much how we culminated everything and kicked off the National Marriage Week.
well, that's
So
awesome. That's really cool. You kicked it off with a wedding. I
yeah,
think that's the first I've heard of that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So that went pretty well. And then of course we advertised. We've got a facilitator training coming up um, in the next coming months, and we also have a training for dynamic marriage for couples that's coming up in a couple months also. So we've got those two things on our schedule.
That's great. That's awesome. Anybody else like to share?
Well, Stephanie, I can't find my hand as usual.
Oh, that's okay. Go right ahead, Shane, and then next we'll hear from Bill after you.
Okay, I won't take but just a second. I'm coming in hot as usual. You'd asked a couple questions yesterday. I hope that came through. I know I didn't get that in a timely manner. We just been a very busy week here in North Carolina. Um, we did all of the things this year that we could pull off as a very small team. And so that being social media posts like I never have done in my life. And that took a lot of work on my behalf just because I'm technically challenged to a degree. And we ended the week off with that Together with a Purpose Valentine's dinner date night. And that is the largest event we've had thus far. So we fed a 4-course sit-down meal, elegant meal to 125 plus in an hour and a half. So I don't think you can go to a nice restaurant and get that. So, but with that said, I do feel like there's things that we could improve on for sure as far as getting the word out to more churches. We didn't struggle, I would say, but I didn't see a lot of effort by them. There were a few churches that did some date night activities. I know a few of them, they had guest speakers coming in, but they couldn't quite get them here on Valentine's. So they're actually doing some of that this week and next week. But there's always room for improvements. And I love that Avon and those guys ended that with a marriage. That's I saw everybody's face light up on the screen when they said that. That was awesome. That was awesome. So we'll have to think about that if we can get a guinea pig couple to do that next year. But we had really good feedback so far. We did fail. You asked me for some feedback yesterday. We did fail our email attachment to our event ticketing did not work. And so I didn't realize that till it was too late. So we only got like 10 surveys back. And so I tried to take up for that yesterday by getting all those emails out by hand. So typing all those email addresses in. So hopefully we'll get more feedback on that.
Well, Shane, I do want to say that for you saying that you are, not tech savvy or whatever, your social media posts that you did were great. They were
Well,
very
thank you.
creative, very impressive. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I tried very hard.
And I loved that they were very well done. And I loved that you used the pictures of your kids in those.
Yes.
And no one would have ever known that if they didn't know your family.
Well, true.
Professional looking. So you
Well,
didn't.
that's part of our testimony. And my legacy for my kids used to be I wanted to leave them a business, and I had a business for 25 years. My legacy now is I want their marriage to be great, and I want there to be generational change in my family. So that's the legacy I want to leave now. So I'm going to use those pictures as often as they'll let me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, we would love to hear from you, Bill Coffin.
Sure. I don't have a grant, so mine's a little bit different report, but we did something at church, right? And we ended up sponsoring it because we only charged $5 and it became a little bit more expensive than that. We only had 35 couples, but we made some mistakes along the way. And I just want to mention them so that others don't make them next year. We have a big sign outside of the church. And I suggested to the secretary the week before, well, it would be nice to have Marriage Week on the sign. And because we've been iced in and got more snow than we normally would, and it became snowcrete, like concrete, only worse. She didn't want to put her sign changer at risk of slipping or injuring himself. So the sign never got changed. We had a link via a QR code for our Friday night couples night out. The website was supposed to be good. We'll accept your money up until Thursday, but for some reason it went down on Monday and wasn't.
Oh, shucks.
So that's how we ended up with 35 and a couple people paying at the door. And if anybody knows where our sign-in sheet went, it was on the front table and somebody walked away with it. Maybe for the emails or for the names, I don't know. But we can't find it, so it's hard to get back to people. The person that was helping us organize also had a pilgrimage. So that person actually was in Italy during the week of our event and still managed to pull some of it together. Our speaker was late, but we had a great time. And but if it wasn't for my wife, who made the Costco run that morning and who bought the heavy hors d'oeuvres and the desserts and the flowers and you name it, and us providing additional vases and additional serving dishes and additional tongs, it wouldn't have come off as well as it did. So those just some lessons learned. And I really appreciate, before I forget, Alicio at the Marriage Initiative sent me the links for every day's broadcast. And I found that very helpful. I also thought the one on legacy was really well done. And it's hard competing up against the Olympics to get a lot of people to show up at that time. I think there might have been 40 people on the call when I was on the call with the legacy call. But those broadcasts were really well done, as was the website, as was the reminders. I mean, you guys just knocked it out of the park, being really helpful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Bill. Love hearing from you. All right, Wanda.
Can't follow that comedian. Good land. You should sign yourself up, Bill. It's like what not to do, right? Our church just does something very small. They do a Sunday fun day, and typically they try to do it around Valentine's, but because of the Super Bowl was competing, they did it the day after Valentine's Day. And our marriage ministers team just helps support. And so we just made goodie bags. Inside the goodie bags, we had conversation cards. So Sunday Fun Day, basically it's 3 to 7. And so parents drop off their child and our church provides childcare for them. So we team with the marriage ministry and the children's ministry. And so it was just nice. We just gave them goodie bags. And then we have an upcoming class. So we put that in there, come back. And this is our upcoming. And then we had books, just, hey, give us your name and number. And we gave away some of marriage books.
That's great. I love that. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
Steph, I want to leave room for a few other people to share, but if once they're done, I'd be happy to share a few things from our end.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Chad.
So my wife and I's first time kind of going through this, and we were excited to be able to be part of a church marriage network kind of lunch, and we were able to have a beautiful slide with the QR code promoting all the different videos and to sign up for those, which was a blessing. A lot of the churches and a couple associations asked us to do a marriage retreat for them. One of them still coming up next week, but one of them on that Friday, because it is busy, I think, with couples a lot with Valentine's Day. They actually opened it up to singles as well, and they kind of described the value of marriage and communication and dating well. And so we collaborated together with some marriage content for all the married people, as well as didn't leave the singles out, which I thought was kind of a nice twist where everybody could feel a part of it in this one local church here in San Antonio. So, but it was fun to be going through this for the first time and looking forward to more.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. All right, Dionna, we would love to hear from you.
Well, yeah, I think we're continuing to learn each year from our mistakes and try to improve every year. So this is really valuable for me to hear from you all. We had on our end, we had a new PR firm this year, and we were just very pleased. We had fewer interviews, but we had larger interviews. And so some, just to highlight a few of the places that mentioned National Marriage Week or did shout outs or profiles. We had Christian Post, Institute for Family Studies, people.com, Christian Television Network, Bot Radio, just to name a few of the bigger ones that we had. And so we were so thrilled to get mentioned in those places. I saw a lot of shares on social media this year and from some new places. Heritage Foundation shared about National Marriage Week. Family Policy Alliance shared about National Marriage Week. And CMIs, you guys were just, my heart was so warm. I would smile every time I saw one of your posts. You guys were all over the place. One thing I would say is we found out we weren't tagged a lot. So we were having to go search and find the posts. So I do apologize if we didn't get a chance to share your events. We were having to really dig and go find what was going on. So that's just a little plug that it's easier for us if you do mention our account. It's much easier for us to find what's going on and share that. One fun thing I saw, sorry, I got allergies today. One fun thing I saw was, we did have some things that weren't just CMIs. We had a retirement home that did a profile on each of their couples every day. And I thought that was a really cool thing. People who had been married a really long time. I saw a proclamation from somebody I didn't know. We did have fewer proclamations this year, but that's okay. We had one from that wasn't even a CMI. So that was kind of fun to see. Our marriage leaders got involved. Our national marriage leaders got involved this year more than they ever have before. We had 3 of our panelists do promotional videos, and we would share those. We shared those as much as we could. Several of them, quite a few of them, were putting it in their own newsletters or sharing it on their platforms. And so we were really excited to see the national marriage leaders get involved. And kind of take ownership of it a little bit, and realize that this is part of a greater big marriage movement. It's not about an organization. And then we had interviews. Just Arlene, she's our spokesperson. She just knocks it out of the park every year with a little bit of higher interviews this year. She had some tougher questions. She did so brilliantly. Kept a smile on her face, and everybody just adores her when they interview her. And so she did really well, but we also had some of our panelists do interviews for us this year. John Trent did a couple interviews. Dr. Gary Chapman did a couple of shout outs for us. Montel and Kristen Jordan did a couple features and did a shout out for National Marriage Week. And then Julia Dzelski did a lot of the Catholic interviews for us. And we were also on the Epoch Times. And so, we just had a lot of more brand awareness this year. And we really saw the beginnings of a movement starting to take shape on every level: ground level, medium level, high level, personal level, public level. And it was just really, really exciting for us to see. As far as the broadcasts, we were very pleased. Those numbers are a little confusing. It's what you're seeing is not exactly accurate. It kind of is people bouncing in and out. And so we did have over 1,450 people sign up for our broadcast this year. And we've already had more people watch them than we did last year. of the whole year. We've had more people watch them within a week than they did all last year. And they're public on our site last year. So we're definitely seeing an increase of interest in those as well, and an increase in signing up. It's hard to hit all the coasts, especially Pacific Coast. It's 5 o'clock there. They're getting off work. And so some of those people are watching right after. And so that number is not quite accurate. We might want to look into text messaging reminders in the future to get more people on exactly at that time. But within the 24 hours, a lot of people are watching. I would say 300-400 people were watching. So all in all, we're really pleased this year. We're keeping a list of things we can improve on and continue to fine tune. But I really owe a lot of it to you guys. I saw you everywhere, and it made my heart happy.
Thank you for sharing, Dionna. Does anybody else have any questions for anyone else on the call, or anything else you'd like to share? Just anything that you want to share. Bill.
Just a thought. I was thinking several years ago, before we were involved in CMI or anything like that, I think this might have been around 2015, somewhere in there. We got somebody to sponsor some radio announcements about our organization and what we're doing for marriage. And we were able to do 5 days of 2 or 3 minute segments twice a day for a week to promote our organization. That's something we might do for Marriage Week. You get someone to sponsor that on a local radio station, do some promos.
That's great. I know we had quite a few who did things like that. So yeah.
Great idea. Thank you all for sharing how the Lord led you all to do something around this great week. And thank you for all the great resources that Marriage Initiative put out. Out here in Oregon, we did one of our comedy date nights, which has actually been a twice a year rhythm that we've settled into. And these are focused around getting the word out about who Friends of the Family is, and how we partner with churches to help strengthen marriages, and just so it's like an awareness event, really, and an acquisition, trying to get people connected to our ministry, and even hopefully at some point become volunteers or donors even so it's a different focus than some of the events I've heard described, where it's like a lot of spinach, right? We talk sometimes about popcorn spinach, like how much meat is there in real teaching, and right. This is a popcorn event, total popcorn. But we had just under 500 people attend, and got to share about the ministry. People had a great time, so there's a lot of positive feelings associated with Friends of the Family and this marriage ministry that's serving our valley. And we always point to next steps. We had 2 main next steps that we pointed people to this time. One is a Prep 8.0 marriage conference that we're doing next weekend. We're calling it Built to Last. And we had 25 couples express interest in that from the event. They haven't all signed up yet. It's not too late. And so we pointed them to that for an opportunity to invest in their marriages beyond just a fun night out together, which is a great thing, right? Laughing together is a wonderful thing. The other next step was in March, we're having a Ministry Connect game night. We've done a game night. We tried for the first time last year for just our people have already connected to the ministry, our kind of a donor thank you, just a game night. But this year we're shaping it a little differently to introduce people to the ministry. Short program, little testimony of impact, and then just some dessert and just board games and card games. So we had those two next steps that we pointed people toward. And one of the ways we've been keeping this, we charge $25 for a couple. And we're able to do that because we set up this corporate sponsorship opportunity. And if you go to FOFM.org, Friends of the Family Ministries, FOFM.org, I'll put it in the chat, and you click on corporate sponsors at the top, support or connect or something, there's a corporate sponsor, and it like details out all these levels of sponsorship that area businesses can come alongside and help make these kinds of events possible and to keep them at affordable rates. Feel free to copy anything on there that's duplicate it if it works in your setting, please. It's been super helpful to us. We have between 5 and 7 corporate sponsors that help underwrite the costs of these events, and we acknowledge them and thank them. And anyway, so that's been a way that we've been able to keep costs really affordable to people in the area, in an area in the state where there's not a lot of big date night event, kind of the clean comedy events. So that was one of the things that we did this year.
Thank you for sharing that, Dave. I love hearing that. You know, one of the things that you talked about that I think is such an important thing is to have a next step, something for them to follow up with after the fact. I think that's so important. And Dave did just share the link to Friends of the Family in the chat if you guys would like to see that. Carl.
Yeah, I just wanted to just hop in and first of all, just thank Dionna. Dionna is such an amazing leader, you all. She is such a steady leader. She starts working on this a year in advance, and she and Alicia have built this incredible timeline and project management tools to make sure we do it. And I think, you know, you see the outcomes of that, of good planning and good management. And she's our managing director and just doing a marvelous job. Thank you, Dionna. Great work. I really appreciate you. And it is really fun. Dionna mentioned that this is kind of becoming a movement. So, you know, and if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. If you care deeply about marriage, if you're serving marriages, then why in the world would you not want to do something really special during National Marriage Week? And we're all kind of finding our unique ways to do that. And we serve leaders in 4 areas. We serve authors. That's what Dionna called our Marriage Leader Network. We serve authors. We serve community leaders. We serve churches. And now we serve people in the public policy space. And this was the first year that we had really strong participation across the entire ecosystem, so to speak. And it was fun. Dionna could chime in and add a little bit more. But on our broadcast, when we were doing our live broadcast, you know, each night 3 authors would come in. A lot of times they never met each other, and right there they got to know each other, and they would want to stay on after the recording finished, and they would want to talk and find new ways to connect. And isn't that great that, you know, God's people are finding one another? And then I love all of this continued creative approaches in our community leaders. Churches are always figuring out ways to be creative and serve couples on the front line. And then Katie McLeod, who's on this call with us, Katie, give everybody a wave. She's our family policy director. And she wrote a couple of amazing articles that were published at Institute of Family Studies. Bill Coffin, thank you so much for being a champion for that and getting us good placement there. And then a number of those articles got picked up and found their ways to other places, which was really neat. One of kind of a U.S. government website picked up some of our articles and carried them, you know, out to the federal grantees. So that was exciting to see. So we're seeing God just really bring together his people. We need to help each other, and that's what we're doing. And National Marriage Week is the one place where we can every year just plan to rally around each other and serve and support each other as God continues to do this. So just a special thank you to everyone who made this a really special time.
Yes, for sure. Yes, I see that Bill is sharing some of the articles there. If you guys want to look at that link he's sharing in the chat for that Institute for Family Studies article that Katie wrote. All right, well, we're coming upon the hour. So if you need to hop off, that is fine. But I do want to just make sure that everyone who wants to share has had that time to share. So is there anyone else who would like to share something from their community? All right, Bill.
Yeah, one more point our guest speaker made, Catholic priest who wrote a book on marriage according to God's plan, a guide for Catholics. But in it, one of the sentences I really appreciated that's in his book that I'm sure others can use as a frame of reference is couples don't need support groups to live as the world lives. Unsaid is, however, if you want to live according to his plan or be different than the world, you're going to need a support group. You're going to need folks to come alongside. Come alongside the folks that are on this call. We need support groups, right? We need others. I appreciate you all.
We appreciate you, Bill. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else who has anything they'd like to share? Bill?
What can I say? One other thought. Has there ever been a thought about some type of national exposure to Marriage Week? I know we do all these things across the state, but something that would be known nationally, that you would see it on television ads or something like that, a giant national promo of National Marriage Week.
Yeah, Bill, we're working on that with our media. That's why we're elevating our media a little bit. So we did have some higher media this year that was national, like people.com and certain interviews like that. We did an ad this year that went across, it was on Facebook, but it was national. As far as like something for television that's seen like a commercial or something, that's a great goal to have. I'm not sure we're quite there yet, but we would love to see that happen at some point someday.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I guess that's going to wrap up our time together today. And we just want you guys to know we are so encouraged, and it's so great to hear just all the creativity, just the statewide collaboration, the live stream engagement you're, posting on social media, your social media campaigns. Really, it's getting more and more clear that this is more than just a week on the calendar. It's really a movement. That's been said before on this call. It really is a movement. And what stood out to me when I look at all of what you guys did is that there isn't just one right way to do National Marriage Week. You guys have so much creativity, and we're just so grateful for your leadership and for all the unseen hours and for your dedication and your commitment to make a difference in the marriage space in your community. So we just truly want to say that we're grateful for all of you. And I do want to remind you to mark your calendars for our next training event, which is the third Friday of March at noon Central Time. And we will be kicking off a 2-part series on Roundtable Ready. So that's going to be all about preparing and facilitating roundtable events, and then also keeping the momentum going after the roundtable event. I also do want to invite you to mark your calendars for our next CMI family prayer meeting, which will be held on March 9th at 1 p.m. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. If you guys need anything, don't hesitate to contact me at steph@marriageinitiative.org. I'd love to hear from you guys. And we're just so grateful that you're all part of the CMI family. So thank you guys so much. And we'll see you soon.